Hey guys, it's Dave and welcome to the Weird Kids Show. You know what? This is an epic moment for not only the show but for me, and hopefully you'll enjoy this. Okay? This is not going to be a tutorial, alright? This is a vlog. This is a journey. This is something that I wanted to do ever since I was a kid. How did it start? Let me show you. This is a copy of Famous Monsters of Filmland. I used to buy this when I was a kid and read it religiously. And I would go through cover to cover, opening up right off the bat. Look what we see here. Monster and horror makeups. Do TV makeups. Okay. And right over here we have Uncle Forey, Forrest Ackerman. This is the man responsible for Famous Monsters of Filmland. Okay, but this isn't so much about Famous Monsters of Filmland. That's another episode. What we're talking about here is this stuff here. And this stuff right here. These were Ben Cooper masks. Okay, wait a minute. Hold on just a second. It's not Ben Cooper. It's Don Post, you big dummy. Okay, and even when I was a kid, back in those days, it was super expensive. There was no way I could have afforded that. But all of this stuff, Famous Monsters of Filmland, pictures, ads like this, the Ben Cooper stuff, dummy. It's Don Post, the model kits, the movies, all of that stuff planted a seed in the Weird Kid. And it's something that stuck with me all my life. When I saw John Carpenter's The Thing, it was a real game changer for me because that movie scared the crap out of me. And I was so impressed. When I saw those monsters, I was like, damn, I want to do that. I want to learn how to do that. So it's always been my dream to make monsters. And now, 51 years later, it's coming to fruition. I'm going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm taking the leap. I've watched a tremendous amount of videos, did a tremendous amount of research. But I am by no means an expert. This is a beginning journey for me. This is a step off into the abyss. This is an introductory for somebody who might be out there that's never sculpted, made a mask before. Come on, I'm doing it. If I can do it, we'll see. You can do it, okay? So, I made some investments here. There's a company called Monster Makers, and they sell this bust. It's a 1/1 scale bust for sculpting on, okay? This particular model has a reservoir in it to put it in warm water if you want to sculpt an oil-based clays. The warm water will heat up the clay so it makes it easier to work with and remove when you're done. But I'm just starting out. I'm not gonna do a full head mask, all right? But I got it. We're gonna get there. But I'm going to put this aside for right now. What I did get also that I'm going to run with today is a half mask. Okay? This is also made by Monster Makers. Alright? And same thing, you can put water in if you so choose to use oil-based clay. So this is what I'm going to work with. Okay? Clay. This right here is 25 pounds of WED wet clay. Wet clay stands for Walter E. Disney. This is the water-based clay that Disney used to use to create the characters and stuff for Disneyland, okay? I've never used it before, alright? So this is going to be a first-time thing. Tools. Bought me a toolbox at the dollar store, and then for about 14 bucks, I got me a whole slew of tools. I can't say I've never sculpted before because I've used Sculpey, but I've never used the wet clay. And I've never used a lot of these tools. I kind of gotten used to seeing them enough in tutorials to know what their basic purpose is. Caliper, if I ever wanted to go the Ed Edmonds Monster Lab way of nailing some 2x4 to a piece of wood and measuring my dimensions. We got different, and this is an important tool that I'm going to use today. This is a wire cutter. This is what we're going to use to cut the wire. Okay, so got tools. I've got a 1-inch chip brush, okay, because I'm going to get me a glass of water, and I'm going to use that periodically to maybe smooth out the clay, okay. And then I got an easel, puny weasel. That was the one thing I did forget to buy. I don't anticipate on this being like super reliable, so I'm going to put some like reinforcement behind it. All right, we're going to just have to work with it until I can build a sturdy one, and I'm going to do that. I've got some other materials, but we're not going to get that. Right now, in this episode, we're going to just talk about the basics. I'm going to throw some clay on this thing, and I'm just going to sculpt. What am I going to make? That's a good question. I don't know. The reason I don't know, I have a bunch of visions and thoughts in my head, of course, but the reason I'm just going to go with the flow and let the clay dictate. The reason is because I've never worked with wet clay, all right? So I need to play with it, get a feel for it, the textures, what it looks like when I use this tool, what it looks like when I do that, what does it look like when I put a snake of clay on there and smooth it out, okay? I've got to experiment, all right? This is my first mask ever. Well, we're going to go through this entire thing, ladies and gentlemen, and this episode is me talking about the basics, what I've done, what I'm doing, and we're going to see how it comes out. Then we're going to move on to sealing it, and then molding it, which is going to be a separate video, pulling it, pouring and pulling a first pull, painting, possibly herring, whatever, the whole 9 yards. We're going to make this match from start to finish, and it's the first time ever, okay? So I am so glad you guys are here. This is so profound for me, and I hope you guys enjoy this, and I also hope that you find it useful, okay? So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to slather on some of this clay. I'm going to put you right over here behind my shoulders. I'm going to talk to you a little bit, but then I'm going to get into this thing. I'm going to put some music. I'm going to let you chill out, speed through this thing, and then periodically I'll interrupt to kind of show you what I'm deciding as we go along. So again, thank you for being here. All right, guys, so I opened up that bag of, the 25-pound bag of wed, and then I just cut off, I don't know, it was like just over a ½ inch slabs, and just started packing it on there. I can see the nose here, so I know I need to put a lot more here. I'm just gonna start filling it in. And then one of the things I've learned is that these tools here are good for smoothing out, trying to get things symmetrical, you know, unless you're really doing some kind of lopsided character. I think you're going to want to like focus on anatomy and have it be proportioned. So hang tight, just stick with me. I'm going to just work on this thing and throw some music on for you. Thanks for being here. So I imagine there's probably like some pros out there that are probably cringing, like, oh man, what are you doing? You know, what are you putting so much water and all? I don't know, you know. I just noticed that when I put the water on there, it's really easier to work with, and I can manipulate and smooth it, which is basically all I'm doing right now. Is I'm creating a blank. And trying to make it as symmetrical as I can. Once it's smooth and proportioned, it'll be then that I like start cutting and or adding. just wanted to stop for a sec just to interrupt. I'm just starting to throw this thing together. You know, I might be jumping the gun on the nose and everything. I don't know. It could get shaved down. I could build off of it. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just throwing clay around. But one thing that I'm going to try that was part of my recipe for making my shrunken heads is I make these. They're almost like a spearhead point or a tongue or something like that. Okay, narrow on one end and wide on the other. And this is what I use to put right here above the nostril and the eye for the cheekbones. It seemed to work with the shrunken heads. We'll see if it works with this. So I'm going to keep at this thing. Alright guys, so it was getting too long, so I cut it here and just worked on this thing for a bit. Now I'm starting to get into the mouth and teeth. Teeth are interesting. They're challenging. I had thought about, they sell these acrylic dentures, teeth. It's just the teeth that are made, and they're acrylic. I know that some people will use those, put them in there, and then just cast it with those in there. And I thought about, because I've got a bunch of those as well, but I thought, you know what, I'll give it a shot. And this is what he's starting to look like here. Still don't know who or what he is, but it's safe to say he's some kind of a monster. Still working on the teeth. I'm filling in some areas here and there, and then blending it. Now I'm finding that a fine paintbrush like this in some water really helps to smooth out and feather. Okay, because when I get up here to the eyebrow area, I'm going to be doing some I'll just do one here for here, just like some ridges, and give it some characteristics. And then after that, I can go back in there and just kind of blend it all in. So I'm going to continue playing with it. Just, you know, start giving them some wrinkles and everything like that. But all in all, I'm having fun, and I guess that's the most important thing. And there is no set time limit here, you know. The one thing I know that I will have to do is, if I get done tonight and I'm not finished, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to need to spray this down a little bit and then wet a towel and wring it out to keep it moist. And we're going to want to cover it. And I'm going to want to cover it with a plastic bag and then seal up as best we can, because long-term wet clay will dry up and crack. You don't want it to dry. That's why some people use oil-based clays, because it'll dry but apparently it won't crack. And you can heat it up and rework it, and it holds finer details. But we're using wet, and yep. So this is where we're at. Still not done, but we're making progress. So we'll check back here in a sec, guys. I appreciate you being here. Hey guys, we're back. All right, so this is where we're at here so far. Okay. I'm debating on these teeth. Teeth are hard. I'd heard that, but damn, they're hard. And like Alan Hopp says, teeth are the soul of the monster. So that's something we have to absolutely get right. So I'm going to play with them a little bit more. See if I can get them a little bit better defined. Plus I have to fill in behind the teeth where there's empty gaps, because if I don't, there's going to be a major undercut when I put the Ultra Cal 30 on there, and it's gonna be a pain in the butt to mold and then get it all out after. So I need to fill in these little spaces here, but I want to keep working on these teeth. So what do you think? What is he looking like to you guys? To me, he's looking kind of like he reminds me of the Phantom a little bit. Now, as far as tools is concerned, things like this work really good. Find that if you you drag it along and create a ravine with this tool, you just come back through with some water and a paintbrush, and you're able to soften the edges and stuff. And that's how I was able to get these like wrinkles and stuff like that. He's getting there. We're gonna keep at it. Thanks for sticking with me, guys. We'll see you in a second. Alright guys, we're back and this thing is done, okay? I didn't want to like bore you with the whole process and everything, because the whole purpose of this one here is, it's my first mask, okay? Could I have spent a tremendous amount of time on it and tighten it up and, you know, make it as perfect as possible? Yes, I definitely could have. I didn't even really use any reference material. I just thought in my head, and basically I just put the clay on there and then just started working with it, because I've never touched it before. I wanted to experiment and see what it feels like, what you can do with it, what you can't do with it, how the different tools work. And so now I have an introduction to wet clay, okay? And so this is what he looks like. All right. Not perfect by any means. It's my, it's my first one. And I call him like the Phantom. I'm calling him the. We're gonna give him a name, but to me he's like a night phantom or something. Here. Okay, so and I used a lot of the different tools to do like the wood ones, but I found that it was pretty much narrowed down to like 3 or 4 tools that I seem to consistently use. Now, what I did after I got done sculpting, and I was happy with okay, this is what I'm gonna go with. I went ahead and I took some Krylon matte clear sealant and sprayed it to give it a protective coating. I've been told that you can now leave it and not have to worry about covering it and keeping it moist and covering it up with the bag once you've put this clear coat on it. Okay, it seals it, and I imagine it'll help with the molding process too. So I put on 4 coats. I guess I might not have needed to put that much, but I did. I put 4 heavy coats on this. I really wanted to see it look good. As you can see, it does look different than it did earlier, okay? I was super unhappy with the teeth. Teeth are hard, okay? I was super unhappy with it, so I just ripped the teeth out and then just redid it, okay? I'm still not 100% sold, but there again, I've got an introduction on teeth, okay? And now I'm gonna know how it's gonna go next time and what I'm gonna change next time. Also too, I had, my nose was too wide, so I had shaved that down a bit. It's still a bit big, but I like it for this character. And I bulked out the chin and then just tweaked them and played with them. I stuck a little mold there. And then I crumpled up some tin foil and then just kind of dabbed it here and there on the sculpt. And then when I was done texturing with the crumpled up aluminum foil, I then took my little paintbrush with some water, and then I went and smoothed and softened, and just enough to give it the texture, but not overwhelming. Like it looked like gouges when I took the aluminum foil to it, but when you put the brush on it with water and smooth it out, now it becomes a texture. Alright, so anyways, this, ladies and gentlemen, was my first wet clay half mask sculpt, okay, ever. Big moment, alright, but we're not done yet. We're done for this video, but we're not done yet, because the next video on this topic is going to be me molding this thing with Ultra Cal 30, and I'm going to go through that whole process with you too. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you like and subscribe and hit the bell. The bell is going to let you know when and the other videos are coming up, and I don't just have this going on. I've got some interviews. I've got a lot of other stuff that's coming, okay? So hit that bell. It's going to let you know when I upload another video. If you haven't done so, go visit my brothers in arms, the Trio of Terror, which is myself, Keith from Cobwebs and Candlesticks, and Vic Springston from Monster Misfits. We're all been busy leading right up to Halloween, the big event, but we're not finished there. Once Halloween's done, it's reset the clock and then start going again. We're here for the duration of the year, 365. Anyways, I appreciate you guys, and until next time, peace.